Colleagues and friends, it's great to be with you today for this important conference on Iran. Once again, it gives us the opportunity to shine a light on the egregious criminality of the Iranian ruling elites. As recently as September the 2nd, we were reminded of the regime's systematic brutality and ruthlessness when Amnesty International published its investigative report into the actions of the Iranian authorities since the nationwide popular protests in Iran just 1 year ago. We now know thousands were arrested, including women and children, and that they were subjected to widespread torture, including floggings, electric shocks, stress positions, mock executions, waterboarding, sexual violence, forced administration of chemical substances, and the deprivation of medical care. Amnesty's report says that Iran's police, the intelligence and the security forces, along with prison officials, were all culpable and participated in these shocking atrocities, all of which are clearly prosecutable offences under the law. But the complicity of Iran's judges and the prosecutors is merely the latest example in a long history of justice distorted and justice denied. Pause too to recall that these same authorities recently executed an Iranian wrestler champion, Navid Afkari, after arresting him and his brothers in connection with protests against the regime. This was despite an international appeal to stop his execution, it being clear to anyone who followed the case that his death sentence came after an unfair trial and a confession which was extracted under torture. Having been in northern Iraq a few months ago, I'm acutely and sadly only too well aware of what the regime's state terrorism and destabilizing activities mean for the stability and for the people of the region, not least for the long-suffering Kurds, the Yazidis, Assyrians, and other minorities there. And the regime's poisonous tentacles reach beyond the region. The organizers of today's event are right to express their concern about how the regime openly threatens the security of Europe and European citizens by engaging in bombing plots against the opposition, the NCRI, and Iranian dissidents on European soil. In this respect, I welcome the forthcoming trial next month in Belgium of the arrested Iranian diplomat alleged to have been involved in bombing the NCRI gathering in Paris. I vociferously condemn any attempt by the regime or its agents to threaten the court in an intimidatory attempt to influence the outcome. A great British Prime Minister once said, "Justice delayed is justice denied." It's high time that Iran's regime was made to answer for its support for terrorism and the long-awaited denial of justice rectified. European governments and the United Kingdom must make it clear to Tehran that under no circumstances will they accept any intervention from the regime seeking to influence or to intimidate the court and to subvert the rule of law and the administration of justice. Since 2018, the surge of Iran-backed terrorism against Iranian dissidents in Europe and the reports of the widespread use of torture and execution against those protesting against the regime to which I've referred, underlines the need for the United Kingdom government to refer the regime's appalling violations of human rights to the United Nations Security Council and to designate the leaders of this regime as perpetrators of crimes against humanity and sponsors of terrorism. At a very minimum, the United Kingdom should be seeking a referral and a preliminary investigation by the International Criminal Court. If that is vetoed and blocked by other Security Council permanent members fearful of having a light shined on their own violations of human rights, we should lead the way in establishing a regional tribunal to bring those to justice who've been responsible for the brutality and for the use of state terrorism and these attempts to silence all opposition. The United Kingdom should also work with the United States to maximize pressure on Iran and use our new global human rights legislation to impose targeted sanctions on officials and leaders of the clerical regime, just as the UK government recently did in Belarus. The Iranian people are the ones who decide the future of their country, and they have a democratic alternative in the NCRI, led by Madam Rajavi and her 10-point democratic platform for a future Iran. We in the UK and Europe must recognize but they stand for principles that we embrace, and we must stand with the people of Iran in their quest for a better future. The same great statesman who said that justice delayed is justice denied also once said, "You cannot fight the future because time is on our side." That is most certainly true for those committed to peaceful democratic change in Iran, and for Iran's regime, the clock is ticking. Thank you for listening.